If you end up liking this video and finding it helpful, then give it a thumbs up and leave your comments below about what your experiences are of using this video. And also, if you haven't already, click the subscribe button and the bell button near the subscribe button so that you can be kept informed when future videos like this go live. As you close your eyes, I'm going to tell you about a princess called Polly. So with your eyes closed, you can listen to me reading this story. And while I read this story, you can begin to feel relaxed. And as I read, you can imagine this story and begin to drift off to sleep. As you drift off asleep, you can continue this story in a dream. And my reading will help you feel sleepy. It will help you feel relaxed. It will help you feel tired, and it will help you fall asleep. Polly, the princess, lived in a beautiful palace, surrounded by well-kept gardens, full of colourful flowers, trees and bushes shaped like different animals. There was a bush shaped like a swan, a bush shaped like a fish, and a bush shaped like a bear. The grass in the garden was green and soft. It was so soft it tickled your feet if you walked around with no shoes on. Polly loved walking in the garden with no shoes on. She would just relax and close her eyes and slowly walk around, enjoying the smell of all the flowers. With her eyes closed, walking around, she would count down each step from 10 to 1, so that she knew where she was in the garden. 10, 9, 8, Polly said as she walked slowly around the garden. 7, 6, 5. She could feel the tickling of the grass between her toes. 4, 3, 2. Polly knew she was nearly by a bush in the garden. 1. On the count of 1, Polly knew she had to stop walking and change direction. Polly loved playing this game in the garden. Polly always dressed in princess dresses and wore her brown hair in 2 plaited ponytails. Polly loved being a princess, but sometimes found it lonely and so would play games on her own. One day Polly was walking around the garden, listening to birds singing in the trees and feeling the grass tickling her feet. She thought to herself that she would like to have a tea party. She had seen her mummy, the Queen, having tea parties. They looked so grown up. Polly asked her mum if she could have her friends around for a tea party. "No, Polly," the Queen replied. "You can't have friends around today." Polly didn't like this. She crossed her arms and scrunched up her face and sat on the floor sulking. This didn't do her any good. The Queen had said no, and when the Queen says no, the answer is no. It didn't take Polly long before she got bored of sulking. She decided then that she wanted to do something different, something more fun. Sometimes it was boring being a princess. She lived in a beautiful palace. She had beautiful clothes, but she wasn't often allowed friends over to visit, so she would get lonely. She wanted to find something really fun to do. Polly still wanted to have a tea party, but how was she going to convince her mummy? As she thought to herself, Polly sat down under her favourite tree, closed her eyes, and began to think how she could possibly have a tea party. While Polly was sitting with her eyes closed and thinking, she started to hear a purring sound. Purr, purr, purr. At first, Polly thought the purring was just in her mind, so she ignored it and carried on, drifting deeper into her thoughts. Then she heard it again, closer this time. Purr, purr, purr. Polly immediately knew this time that it wasn't in her mind. She opened her eyes, and there, lying on its back on the ground in front of her, was a small black and white kitten. The kitten seemed to enjoy the grass as much as Polly. Polly stroked the kitten. It purred even more. While she was stroking the kitten, Polly thought to herself, "I wish I was allowed a tea party with my friends." Suddenly her mummy, the Queen, came back out into the garden and strode over to Polly. She sat down next to her and said, "If you would like a tea party with your friends, you can have a tea party with your friends." Polly jumped up with joy and a big smile on her face. She bounced up and down, exclaiming, "Really, really, really?" "Yes, really, Polly," said her mummy. Polly thought to herself that she would have to prepare, and she would have to invite all of her friends. Polly picked up the kitten, ran inside the palace, and up to her room. "What should I wear? What should I wear?" Polly said to herself. She had so many clothes that she didn't know what she should choose. While Polly was deciding, the kitten sat quietly on the bed. Eventually, Polly found a blue, sparkling dress to wear. Next, she had to invite her friends. Being a princess, she had lots of friends. They just weren't normally allowed to visit. She contacted all of them. She knew this afternoon's tea party was going to be the best. She then went and told the cooks what they had to prepare. All she was missing were the decorations to make the tea party look pretty. Polly stood in the garden, gently stroking the purring black and white kitten as she looked at the table and chairs that had been laid out for her tea party. "It looks very boring," thought Polly. "I wish it was all sparkly and pretty, with ribbons and fairy lights and colourful material." Just then lights began to swirl around in a mist as colours filled the air. When the lights, colours and mist cleared, Polly could see a beautiful table ready for a tea party, with ribbons and lights and sparkling stars and colourful materials. She wondered whether somehow the kitten was magical. When she was under the tree wanting a tea party, after her mummy had said no, she was stroking the kitten and her mummy came over and said she could have a tea party. When she wanted the table to be prettier, she was stroking the kitten and the table became pretty. Polly decided to try something. She stroked the kitten while she said she wanted her favourite pop band to come and play. Her mummy came out into the garden. "Polly dear, just to let you know, we've got a pop band coming to play for your tea party." Polly was so excited. The kitten was magical. She had heard about magical lamps that you rub and out pops a genie, but never magical kittens. During the tea party, Polly wanted to show off her new kitten. She kept stroking the kitten and making different wishes. All of her friends were impressed. but the kitten was now getting sad. Polly was acting as though she only liked the kitten because it could make her wishes come true. After the party, when all of Polly's friends had gone home, Polly went to bed. She took the kitten up to bed with her. When Polly got into bed, the kitten walked away. Polly tried to call the kitten back, but it just looked at her, then turned and continued to walk away. Polly didn't know why the kitten was behaving like this. She got out of bed and followed the kitten, but every time she caught up with the kitten and tried to pick it up, it walked away faster and struggled to keep moving away. Polly tried to talk to the kitten, but the kitten just ignored her. Polly tried to think what might be wrong with the kitten. "Have I upset you?" she asked. The kitten turned to face Polly. Polly spoke with the kitten for a while before realizing that the kitten was upset, that she was just using the kitten to get what she wanted. She was not being friendly and kind with the kitten, and it thought she didn't want to just spend time with the kitten. The kitten had become friends with Polly because it could see that Polly needed a friend. However, once Polly had realized the kitten was magical, she had simply used the kitten rather than being friends back. So the kitten didn't feel this true friendship. It wanted to be friends with someone who would like it for who it was, not for what it could do. Once Polly understood this, she said sorry to the kitten. They became best friends, and she finally went back to bed to go to sleep, with the kitten sleeping peacefully on its own little bed beside hers.